Good morning. It's Tuesday, April 21st, and we are now entering the seventh week of the course. So, good morning again, and welcome to that seventh week, albeit a little later than I usually like to do, but nonetheless, we are nearing the end. And in my usual practice of just talking a bit about last week and a bit about the upcoming week and some administrative things to remember, I'd like to just start with the week gone by, where we looked at organizational learning. And I think it was a fairly straightforward unit. It talked about some of the predicaments organizations find themselves in, and many times we see, as you actually saw in week 5 somewhat, it's that organizational as well as individual resistance to change, or our tendencies to develop complacency. And we often wonder why something that's been working well for a long time suddenly isn't working anymore. What do we do? How do we do something about it? Why isn't it working anymore? And a lot of these things are actually building up on us right now. And we see that the things we need to think about couldn't be more directed into what we talk about in week 7. Week 7, although when it was written, the whole idea of globalization was a little bit more economic when this unit was written, I think we have an opportunity to say that this unit is maybe more important than ever because of the global situation we find ourselves in. And that's very simply, we've just talked about change management. We've talked about, as I say, looking back to things that were working well that aren't working anymore. And now we're looking at a world situation, not just a national situation, but a world situation where we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. And that's very disconcerting for a lot of people. It's also an opportunity for many people. What do we think the world will be? Where do we think it ought to be? What do we think we ought to do about it? So what you're going to be doing this week is actually looking at these whole ideas of global interactions, and I'd really like you to think of them in terms of what we're seeing in the world today. It's going to be very important. The other thing that you're going to be doing this week is, as you'll notice, due to the way we have to get grades into the system on time, etc., the final written assignment comes up this week. And this week you're going to be asked to take that company that you have been following throughout the course, look at it now in kind of a whole enterprise way, a holistic way, and say, okay, what did I learn about this place? What did I learn about this place in terms of organization, how it's organized, to do, what does it do? Okay, that sounds a little odd, but think about it there. How does it do what it does do, and what does it do? Is that what it thinks it does? All these kind of things. And what we really want to concentrate on is putting all the pieces together. We've been through so many different concepts and different ideas that it's time to have this kind of summative exercise that puts things together and lets you say, this is where I see this company going. This is where I see them having to maybe make some change, and a particular emphasis of the assignment is looking at resistance to change. And I may have mentioned to a few people last week, I have been working for years with these change models, and also with behavioral models. Not in terms of intelligence or personality or anything like that, but from a management point of view, one instrument that I've used for years measures observable behavior. And you can imagine that's quite interesting and quite useful in organizations. When you look at how your people behave, how individual people behave, you start to get a little bit of a picture of how, as managers and executives, we need to behave in order to get to our organization to be set up and to staff itself properly and to do everything we need to achieve our goals. And one of the interesting things that this model that I use, which is called the DISC model, it has one component where it looks at resistance to change. Really does. And it has one of the four models, four basic areas of it is on a scale, a scale called S, which is steadiness. Okay, and just in a brief explanation, people who score high on the steadiness score don't want to change. Everything's fine. Don't rock my boat. Don't come in. Don't rattle my cage. Just let me do what I know how to do. I'm doing it well. Go away. Leave me alone. Okay? And when the world interferes or the boss interferes or some outside influence interferes, this becomes stressful, and I just don't like it. The low end of that S scale is somebody who thrives on chaos. Oh boy, if things are different, just love things to change. Let's just, it's the whole idea. If it isn't broken, break it. This is just a lot of fun. Well, the reason I mention that is when we look at the aggregate of thousands and thousands and probably millions of times now that this instrument has been used, we do find that the highest segment of the population, it's pushing into the 40s, okay, of these four areas of behavior. The most of the population, not most, but the highest single block of the population is the high S, the resistance to change. People just don't like it. Why? They don't like uncertainty. It's not that they don't like change, they don't like uncertainty. Well, so I think you can imagine if that model is accurate, then we've got a lot of stressed out, very, very uncomfortable people in the world right now. So look at it, everything. I really urge you to look at everything in terms of what the world situation is, how things are progressing around you, and also how are they progressing around that company that you've been studying all along. Okay, that's how we want to do it. Now, I mentioned a couple administrative things. Number one, I just mentioned that this is the final written assignment. Okay, that doesn't mean next week isn't still active class with a graded discussion. So make sure that you are just not slacking off after this week and say, oh, got that major assignment done, I'm done. No, we're not done yet. We're getting that. And also be prepared that next week will end on Friday, not on Saturday, or Sunday, excuse me. That's when things have to be in. Given that warning, if you have any outstanding work, please get it in now. There are a couple of late pieces that I have talked to people about. There are some grades that need to be gone back and looked at again because of some prearrangements and things about, maybe there was a missing component or I asked somebody to do something again. Please make sure you're paying attention to the fact that we are in week 7 and we need to get this done. Okay, so again, I hope everyone is well. Everyone is staying as safe as you can be, and we're almost at the end. So thank you for your work, and 2 more weeks to go. Thank you. Bye.